Welcome to the Netherlands. The capital city is Amsterdam, which is located in the center of the country. Globally, the Netherlands resides north of Belgium and west of Germany. Rotterdam is home to the world's largest port. The Netherlands area is just over 41,000 square kilometers. The country's population is approaching 17 million people. Let's examine the PESTEL model for the country.
Let's start off by discussing the political landscape of the Netherlands. The Netherlands government is a constitutional monarchy and is made up of four separate branches: the monarch, the parliament, the executive branch, and the judicial branch. King Willem-Alexander represents the monarchy. He is official head of state but has very limited power within the government. Mark Rutte is currently the Prime Minister of the Netherlands and represents the head of the executive branch of the Dutch government. The executive branch is made up of a cabinet of ministers and state secretaries who are mainly responsible for the annual budget and initiating laws and policies. From there, the laws are passed on to Parliament, which is a bicameral legislature known as the States General and is made up of two chambers, the Senate and the House of Representatives. They represent the people and are charged with deciding on the laws initiated by the cabinet. Netherlands' political status is considered free with a freedom rating of 1 according to Freedom House's 2015 scores. For the past 15 years, the Netherlands' political freedom aggregate score has been slightly below the United States and declining the past 5 years due to talks of separating from the EU. Despite the slight decline, it still ranks high and is considered very politically favorable for businesses. According to the worldwide governance indicators, the Netherlands outranks the United States in every category. In the last 10 years, the Netherlands has consistently scored around a 1.6 in voice and accountability, while the U.S. has been on decline with a significant drop in 2006. On political stability and terrorism, the Netherlands has mirrored the trend of the U.S. on following the drop in 2001 with a slow recovery since. However, the Netherlands has consistently outranked the U.S. Government effectiveness is generally lower than it was 10 years ago in both countries. However, unlike the United States, the past 8 years have shown signs of improvement for the Netherlands. Regulatory quality has remained somewhat flat the last 10 years, currently with a score of 1.8, while the U.S. has fallen in this metric over the last 10 years. Rule of law has been on a constant rise over the last 10 years in the Netherlands and improving at a faster rate than the U.S. The last score saw a large, strong improvement, which is very favorable compared to many other countries across the world. The last metric we'll look at in political is Transparency's Corruption Perception Index, which shows again the Netherlands consistently outranking the United States for the past 10 years for absence of political corruption. From here, let's move on to the economic analysis of the Netherlands. We'll start by looking at the degree of economic freedom in the Dutch economy. The Heritage Foundation's Index of Economic Freedom ranked the Netherlands similar to the United States, with a 2016 score of 74.6 compared to 75.4 of the U.S. You can see from the trend that the Netherlands is improving in recent years, while the U.S. economic freedom ranking has fallen. Overall, the Netherlands is currently ranked as the 16th freest economy worldwide. The current GDP is $752 billion compared to $17.9 trillion of the U.S. You can see that the size of the U.S. GDP has grown at an exponential rate over the past 50 years, and it makes the Netherlands economy appear somewhat flat in comparison. Zooming in and looking at the Netherlands GDP alone, you can see the recent growth in the last 30 years. They saw a marginal growth rate in the 90s, and then the GDP more than doubled between 2001 and 2008. It has been on a slight overall decline since the financial crisis in 2008, with up and down years. Looking at the GDP growth rate, you can see that on an annual percent basis, the GDP has only seen negative growth rates at 4 different periods in the last 50 years, which also coincides with those same negative growth rates in the United States. The GNI per capita PPP for 2015 was 48,500 compared to the US at 56,300. Overall, the Dutch income level is slightly lower but has kept pace with the US for the past 50 years. Unemployment rates are rising in the Netherlands and are currently moderate at 6.9%. In contrast, unemployment rates in the US are falling from a peak in 2010 and fell below the Dutch unemployment rate in 2014. The Netherlands was one of the founding members of the EU and therefore utilizes the euro as its currency. The euro has been depreciating against the dollar since 2008 and is on a similar trend to the British pound. Foreign direct investments are lower when compared to the U.S., both in terms of yearly inflow and outflow, and in terms of FDI stock, inward and outward stock. Yearly inflows and outflows are on a negative trend over the past few years in the Netherlands. This is the opposite of the US, which has seen an increasing amount of FDI recently. When looking at the overall FDI stock, you can see that the Netherlands contains far less investments when compared to the US. However, there is a slight increase year to year on inward and outward FDI stock in the Netherlands over the last few years. The top trade partners with the Netherlands are primarily within the EU. The major current imports for the Netherlands include machines and engines, oil, electronic equipment, pharmaceuticals, and medical equipment. You can see how oil and electronic equipment have become major imports compared to machinery and construction materials 50 years ago. Top importing countries are Germany, Belgium, Russia, China, and the United States. The top 5 exports are oil, electronic equipment, machines and engines, vehicles, and pharmaceuticals. Again, oil has become more important over the last 50 years, but also notice how electronics was one of the top exports for the Dutch 50 years ago and remains one of the top 3 today. Top exporting countries are Germany, Belgium, the UK, France, and Italy.
Now let's take a look at the social aspects of the Netherlands. The national language of the Netherlands is Dutch, with English being the second most common language. Although the municipality of Amsterdam acknowledges English as an official language, it is at a lower status compared to Dutch. The largest religion practiced in the Netherlands is Roman Catholic, with various forms of Protestant follow behind. While majority of the populace align with religion, the percentage of those who don't have risen. The Netherlands' religious culture is slowly dwindling, as seen by the percentage of people who don't affiliate with any religion have grown since 2006. Now looking at the Hofstede Index, a comparison between the Netherlands and the U.S., you can see that the two countries rank similarly on all but 2 categories, which are masculinity and long-term orientation. The Netherlands scores low on the masculinity dimension, indicating that their culture is a feminine society, meaning, in essence, that their society as a whole focuses more on the quality of life. In comparison, the U.S. scores a lot higher, indicating that they are more prone to validating success of life by the achievements that they have garnered. The other difference amongst the two is long-term orientation. The Netherlands scored relatively high, indicating that people have a pragmatic nature and are willing to change to fit the situation that presents itself, with the U.S. coming in low, indicating a society that's difficult to initiate or follow through with change because tradition is their society's backbone. Trompenaars measures of the Netherlands are similar to that of the United States, with the exception of achieve versus ascribe status being higher in the U.S. With a score around the middle of the grading scale, the Netherlands has a tendency to attribute people higher status because of who they are, opposed to the U.S., who believe that you are what you've worked for.
Now we will discuss the technological context of the PESTEL analysis of the Netherlands. Research and development is very important to the Dutch, and they have slowly been increasing their spending over the last 6 years. After the 2008 Great Recession, the Netherlands had lowered its R&D spend to 1.65% of gross domestic product. By 2012, the Netherlands had increased their R&D spend to 1.9% of GDP. The goal of the Netherlands is to increase their total R&D spend to 2.5% of GDP. If the Netherlands were to achieve this goal, they would be among the top in the globe of R&D spending. The scientific and technical journal articles written in the Netherlands has not increased by a substantial margin compared to the United States. However, since the year 2000, they have nearly doubled the number of articles written from 17,260 to 30,410 in 2013. This is important as the Netherlands need to continue to increase these written articles if they expect to continue to be a player in research and development market. This is the same story for the patent applications over the last 2 decades. In the Netherlands, patent applications have remained practically flat over that period. The Dutch are consistent but have not kept pace with the United States, who have dramatically increased the number of patents filled over the last decade. Now let's move on to the environment.
The Netherlands experienced impacts to air and river quality due to the high levels of industrialization. On top of that, the Netherlands face a large inflow of pollution through its rivers from neighboring countries due to its geographical position. With half of the country lying 1 meter below sea level and an eighth lying below sea level, the rise in CO2 emissions and climate change don't help the already bleak situation as they contribute to the rise in sea level. The government has taken steps to counteract the problem by attempting to decrease energy consumption and increase renewable energy use such as biofuels. While the long-term options are viable, the Netherlands have begun to implement various strategies like the ban placed on giving out plastic bags in the marketplace, unless the situation permits, which was enacted on January 1st, 2016, and also creating environmental zones to keep high-polluting lorries out of certain areas. The Yale Environmental Performance Index ranks the Netherlands 36th overall out of a possible 180, with its highest indicator water resources coming in second. The most notable increase for the Netherlands would be in air quality, while the most notable decrease would be in fisheries. Air quality increased from rank 169 in 2006 to 136 in 2016, which can be attributed to the multitude of actions spurred by the government to decrease pollution and also the looming EU fines if air quality is not remedied. Fisheries, on the other hand, have decreased from rank 110 in 2006 to 119 in 2016. This decrease is caused by an increase of water temperature of the North Sea, lakes, river estuaries, and the changing transitions between salt and fresh water due to sea level rise and changes in river discharges in summer and winter. In comparison, the United States is ranked 26th overall and ranked higher in 6 out of the 9 categories.
The Netherlands' legal system was influenced by Roman law and is now a civil law country. Civil law is a system based on written laws and codes, which is more restrictive but less controversial than common law. The Netherlands and the United States follow the same general court structure. The Netherlands' lower courts are district courts. In addition, there are 4 courts of appeal. Similar to the United States court structure, the Supreme Court of the Netherlands is the highest ranking and overarching court. It is charged with ensuring that lower courts followed the letter of the law when reaching decisions. The Supreme Court hears both civil and criminal cases. Since 2007, the Netherlands' international property rights has been on the decline, most notably from 2014 to 2015. Taking a further look, the Netherlands and the United States are neck and neck with the exception of legal and property rights. There is a 17% difference, which is likely due to their more restrictive legal system. On average, over the last several years, the Netherlands has maintained a higher average ranking of 8.4 on the legal and political environmental scale. Furthermore, the Netherlands is a clear frontrunner in its ranking for judicial independence, which is ranked 25% higher than the United States. This is a reflection of strong judicial structure set in place by the Netherlands. Overall, physical property rights rankings has consistently been trending downward for both the Netherlands and the United States. Since 2007, the Netherlands ranking has decreased by 21%. The United States has seen a lesser, but still significant rate decrease of 11% in the same time period. As seen in the Protection of Physical Property Rights chart, registering property rights is an especially high priority for the Netherlands. The Netherlands and the United States both have strong intellectual property rights rankings. This indicates that both countries have strong judicial systems. Looking closer, patent protection in the Netherlands is very important and well protected.
Now we will briefly cover the SWOT analysis for the Netherlands. As we've referenced many strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the Netherlands, I will be covering one of each. One of the main strengths of the Netherlands is they are leaders in technology and innovation. Over the last decade, the Netherlands has increased their R&D spend to just shy of 2% of their GDP. The Netherlands' goal is to increase their R&D spend to 2.5% of their GDP. A weakness of the Netherlands has to do with the focus on their trade with countries inside of the European Union. Due to the lack of trade diversity, the Netherlands is closely tied with the economies of the European Union countries. The main opportunity the Netherlands has to improve on is their continued focus on innovation through research and development. Like mentioned earlier, if the Netherlands increased their total R&D spend to 2.5% of their GDP, they would be among the top nations spending money on research and development. The greatest threat to the Netherlands is that most of their country is below sea level. Without continued research and development and continued work on their extensive seawall technology and dikes, they could find themselves underwater. In conclusion, the Netherlands is one of the greatest developed countries in the world and will continue to lead the world in technology and innovation.